Okay.
Yeah.
Right? And this is connected to the Our Soil event. And it's a wonderful opportunity for us to share what we're doing and how we are being regenerative and what we're regenerating. So please, my name is Ryan Noss with We Grow With LLC, and I'd like to introduce you to
My wife.
Christine.
And I'm Chad Meinders. We're here in Milan, Indiana, southern part of the state, so we're just south of the good soil, into the clay rolling hills and clay flats. So kind of rough growing conditions.
name of your farm.
Ripley Cove Farms.
And then you also have another label connected to what you produce, which is...
Yep. So we were looking to share some of our experiences and abilities within the meat packing industry and some of the knowledge within the regenerative world. And so we launched an all-inclusive brand that we could bring other producers into, Proven Proteins.
Proven Proteins. So Proven Proteins is the umbrella of the meat products that are produced by raising and rearing cattle. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So, do you consider yourself regenerative?
Well,
have you always?
We haven't always. No, not at all. We were conventional. Plenty of ag chemicals. We relied on the system pretty heavily, and so we were everything. We were dewormers. We were seed coats. We were herbicides of all kinds and many kinds and multiple times. We've eliminated all that now. So
definitely leading towards a regenerative path. Like this is where not utilizing those toxic inputs so that you could focus on healthy inputs, amending and nurturing those systems.
Absolutely.
Because there's so many, and we know each other enough to be like, where do we start, right? But if you go back just maybe a couple years or to the beginning, share a little bit about your journey and why these changes to management practices are so important to you personally, and then how that applies to how you interact with your community.
Yeah, so years of raising cattle and growing crops with my parents and grandparents. We working with older equipment, older technology. We knew that other people were doing better things with as good or less in some instances. And we could just look from one field to the next. Some of the neighbors and soil types, we could tell that there were major differences. Big differences come when we realize that the equipment isn't working anymore.
Right.
So when a planter won't go in the ground and the neighbor he's stacking as much seed as he can on his planter.
Yeah.
Literally not just what's in the planter, but on the planter to try to get row units in the ground, that maybe something's off here. So
it's so hard. Yeah.
So we started. Some of our acres had been consistently cover cropped or randomly cover cropped, depending on, what was next in the system. Perennial pastures would rotate into, cropland, and those were always the best crops when we would have a green manure of a clover or a triticale crop or or a deep rooted rye, cereal rye, annual ryegrass type crop ahead of a soybean. Or corn, there was always better yields and better productivity following a cover crop and manure. So we knew there was something to the system, but what was going on, we weren't quite sure at the time. There's
a learning curve that happens. You've already noticed changes, but now the why behind the what, right? Okay. What have been some of the things that you've done to improve your own education or refine that part of the journey?
Yeah. So, one of the big aha moments is attending some of these seminars and shows and educational pieces that, people like yourself attend and put on. The We Grow With has definitely been a huge part of what we've been doing as of recently, in inoculation and trying to repopulate the soil and re-inoculate. trying to keep soil covered, constantly keeping green growing plants in the profile. So that's been a huge leg up in the weather patterns and issues that we see other people struggling with. So the conferences and mentors like yourself have been huge in the steps we've made moving forward. So
It's a steep learning curve.
Yeah. There's a lot to try to digest in a short amount of time. Even though it's been years, it's still short in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, true. Especially if you're having to unlearn decades or generations of other information. That's very true.
Yeah, lose bad habits and gain new ones.
Right. That's true.
So.
What shifted from crop production to forage production? Like, why the shift for you, and then how did that lead to eventually making a value-added product, which of course we'll talk about more specifically, but that progression, most people are still in, I'm going to grow a commodity, or I'm going to go, some other.
Yeah, a lot of it had to do with economics. We were looking for ways that we could hoof a crop off the field rather than haul the crop off the field. And so, there was a farm, 90 acres on the other side of a highway that Granddad always wanted to fence and get cattle on because it took so long to haul manure that far. So it didn't make sense, to be trucking nutrient to and from. So we decided that we'd plant cover crops and try to revamp our soil health with, proven metrics that we saw working on the home farm close, on small scale, and made huge differences by building the fence, rotating cattle, and implementing a different rotation than a corn soy, or maybe a once in a while crimson clover cover crop that would it's just kind of a short-lived deal. But so it was a huge, just trying to find ways to pinch a penny here and there turned out to make massive differences down the road.
Yeah.
So ultimately we ran into some issues. We had some what I would call failed crops, and we knew that we had issues, and we had to shift from the conventional method to a more natural. If we were going to till, we needed to till with intention. If we were going to plant a cover crop, we were planting with intention. And so it was a very directed way of farming rather than just a consistent repeat every year with chemical applications. And
the routine of the rotation really has trapped a lot of people. Corn, soy, corn, how long? Forever. Just repeat, rinse, repeat, repeat, Yeah, for real. So from there, you went from growing things out of the ground to realizing that if something ate that thing on the ground, you would get the benefit of the manure, benefit of other things. But now you have livestock to deal with. So you've transitioned from that stewardship into a shepherding component with raising and taking care of livestock. And so tell me about the beef that you nurture and then how that then becomes product.
Yeah. So we grew up raising cattle in several different arenas, we'll say, everything from a feedlot to a show ring to a consumer's table. So we'd kind of seen all the different aspects and different perspective possibilities that a person can take into the beef industry. And what we quickly realized is there were some missing pieces that weren't really being answered. And it was, what is the quality of the product that we're consuming? Right. And you can taste differences in meat, but we don't know what are those taste differences. And so in our regenerative journey, a salesman came to us and said, "Hey, there's a beef study that's going on at Utah State, and you might want to send some beef in. It's free, by the way." And so we packaged up some beef. We ordered the shipping instructions, and we were late to the show. Actually, we were like 2 days late, to the deadline, of course, right? So, anyways, they accepted our product and entered the study anyways, and we get our results back and an email that came with it that was interested in wanting to know more about what it was we were doing, more information. You guys didn't send all the necessary items in, which was manure and forage sample, and we were shotgunning this thing in, and it just it was an overnight thing. It wasn't like we were trying to hide anything. It just didn't happen.
Now we would like to know more.
yeah
Tell us more.
Yeah, so on the want to know more part, the professor calls us and said we'd like to have an idea at least what kind of species or how many species you're utilizing, and asked him what's going why are you asking? Like, well, you scored pretty high in the test, and we want to know what are you doing? So we don't think there's any reason, and we still don't believe there's any reason to not share it with folks. So we shared and discussed and talked about the cover crops and the rotation and warm seasons versus our primary species in our perennial pastures are cool seasons. And so we thought, well, we are supposed to eat seasonally. Why not plant something that the cows can have and eat seasonally, and a diverse mix through one of the green cover seed nexus events. Met some really interesting individuals through those networks, and it's been a really neat cover crop story, if you will. So that's by far that's not the only thing that added up to the nutrient density story that that we're trying to hang the proven brand on is nutrient density, and solidifying those labels that we see on grocery store shelves, that if a person's going to claim that the product is organic or non-GMO or grass-fed, there's different metrics that we're understanding can prove that animal was grass-fed. It's a clean organic. It's not a pseudo-organic. There's no toxins. There's
way more in a label.
Yeah. Way more in a label. Yeah. So the exciting part that we were introduced to in the snack stick world was a renowned recipe developer, and we didn't know what we were getting into. I'd never bought snack sticks, beef sticks. We never really looked into value adding in the beef industry or in the beef retail market, and the beef stick world has really opened up a lot of doors for us. That there's a lot of sticks on the market, but very few are making any claims or any direction towards nutrient density and very clean labels, and super intentional about the ingredients that are being included in the food supply. So that's something that we feel like's hitting in perfect timing with the MAHA movement and the state that our food system's in right now. So.
Yeah. And so when there aren't enough prime cuts, there's only so many T-bones or porterhouses, how do you still get the value of the nutrition? And meat sticks offer an outlet for both the nutrition but also value-added product that you're able to market.
Exactly. Kids' lunch boxes, easy, on the go.
I had 3 of them today.
Yes.
They're good.
Yeah, it's hard to eat just one.
It really is.
Yeah. So
now, connected to the label of the title proven, is some of the information gained from this nutritional density studies, right? And so some of the information that came back to us, is that it had markers for more than what's normally being worked with, right? And then that helps with other things. Can you share a little bit about some of these other markers?
Yeah. So outside of fats and proteins and typical things you think you'd find on a nutritional label, the testing was looking at phenols, all these different plant compounds, and antioxidants and amino acids. Some of these compounds that are the foundation that make up the proteins or make up the fats in the meat. And some of the really, really exciting numbers were the level of antioxidants that were found in grass finished meat, not just ours, but as a whole.
Overall, it's healthier. But yours,
it stacked up,
indicate even more things. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, significantly higher, including some the peptides and the amino acids that make up the proteins. So
yeah. So in that process of what they sent back to us and us getting to nerd out with all this information, is that there were specific markers that are only there when you have good, healthy soil fungi. And that good, healthy soil fungi is actually part of your management program and some of the different products and practices that's used.
Yeah. So some of the exciting things, we hear a lot of the soil experts talk about bacterial and fungi ratios, and we haven't tested any of that yet. But the neat thing is does it matter when it ends up in the meat and it's significantly higher in the meat? Significantly higher. Multiple times higher.
Yeah.
Not just single percentage points. So we found fungal. I'll back up a little bit. What the study and the professor has shared with us, even as recent as yesterday again, was that you can't have nutrient density in beef or in any protein for that matter without good soil biology, good functional soil. And so it was almost that aha moment that all this hard work has been paying off, and time and energy that we've been putting into this program is actually paying off. But the most exciting are some of these very specific compounds that this test is showing, and some of the biological markers. This one amino acid, ergothioneine, that we were getting pretty excited about.
Which they're like, that's fights cancer. Yeah, this is that's what this one does, and it's normally not in there because people normally don't have the good healthy soil fungi. To provide it for the plants, to provide it for the animals.
Right. So the fungi with the fungi.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan, and we Grow With for helping us along the way and proof in the pudding and an aha moment for us and that that it's working. It's not just
proven.
Yeah.
And this isn't it's not just this one amino acid profile. Your omega-3 to 6 ratio. It has a better ratio than salmon, and it turns red meat into an antioxidant, which we've always heard it was carcinogenic, and so some of these, things that we thought are being rewritten because now we're now working with healthy systems,
Yeah. Really, really exciting news for the beef industry and probably a lot of room for the pork and poultry industry to make 100%. Up a lot of room. We saw some massive improvement in the pork that we've been raising. So really excited about where the regenerative world can go with nutrient density at its back. Or in the lead. It's the spearhead maybe even.
Well, I think that it then shifts and allows food to be medicine once again. Right, and so this is what are we regenerating? What is it to be regenerative? It's the actions necessary to make it, better and healthier and lead that to the next generation and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And you have 3 beautiful children who are incredibly helpful and part of the team 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
So this is not just your own endeavor, but it's being passed on and being nurtured.
Yeah. That's one neat thing about the value added products, especially the snack stick that, we go to some trade shows and some seminars and, the kids get to bounce around and go, they're doing their own marketing out of the backpack and, a brochures in hand, so that's been a lot of fun and bringing enjoyment back to, raising cattle that can be, on below 0 days and, 100+ days, they're tough, and for the kids to be able to see the other side, the fun side of the business. It's
not just the hard work.
Yeah, not just the hard work. So, but really excited to be able to bring other families and other groups into the proven team, and be able to share the knowledge and the understanding, and the co-packing abilities and the marketing abilities, and I think it's going to be a huge game changer for a lot of families. So not just to sell through us, but in their own networks and their own markets regionally across the country. So,
wonderful.
Yeah.
And just help me understand that this is so much more than just a meat stick.
Mm-hmm.
That the meat stick is the result of actually all the hard work and dedication and focus on living systems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we've had a lot of people come to us at shows and they come up with this comment or this statement that, man, this is a lot more than a beef stick, isn't it? Yeah. There's a story behind it. There's intention in the recipe.
Right. The fact that it's actually considered a probiotic because it's a fermented.
Yeah. Yep. We were part of a food is medicine. It was an autism study, but they were trying to see if.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. So Purdue University and some other groups, Stefan with Utah State. There was a whole group of people, Iowa State, group of people that were involved in this. 30 plus autistic children, tested everything from their saliva to their urine and blood tests, and a whole spectrum. It was something, tens of thousands of dollars worth of testing per child.
Right.
And we got to participate and provide food to the study, and what they found in the study were the largest significant marker that showed inflammation and the outburst, the things that cause the inflammation in these children and their issues were mycotoxins. And when we tested the snack stick, which was the lead into was how can we get the children to eat protein again?
Yeah.
Because many of them are stuck on cereal grains and whatever else they can find and whatever the parent can get them to eat at that point. And so when we tested the stick for mycotoxins, we knew going into it before the study that we were free of mycotoxins. Through some other groups we were in, we needed to test. So to come back to know that we weren't contributing, and we actually got to see data that those mycotoxin levels and these inflammatory factors were dropping significantly in the children. So
if my memory serves, every marker showed improvement.
Right.
Like this wasn't just a one-off. This was all the metrics that they were using. That health and nutrition and food as medicine improved all of the markers.
Absolutely. Yeah. People way smarter than us can tell more about it, but the Pearl study, if you look it up or contact us, we can share more information on it. But yeah, they're working on, it was more of a proof of concept study. So, there's not really a paper per se published yet, but there is an even bigger group of scientists that are coming together now to help push on.
Yeah, and it was done beautifully. Like the study it is legit on every level, which then allows all those other scientists to review and explore that data.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So really excited about where things are going and having a shelf stable product that you can hand and discuss and talk about, how soil health can actually impact your gut and the behavior of people at all levels. If we're working with prisons, we're not, but we would like to be able to work with prisons and find ways that, how can we bring down some of these behavioral issues and have discussions, with a shelf stable, ready to eat product. So nice. Many divinely led pathways and doors have been opened with this product. So
that's great.
Yeah.
And there's opportunities for people to just be a customer and consume and that's where Proven Proteins on the internet and Ripley Cove Farms on the internet, the websites, they can order and have it shipped directly to them. But then there's also opportunities for producers who are growing cattle and would like to make their land and animals healthier, and then to be able to, once certain metrics are met, to be able to have that come into a supply chain that only reinforces the grass-fed, healthy, regenerative, lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the whole concept is we don't want this to be a me thing. We want it to be a we thing, including the people that helped us get there. So by all means, we're hoping to bring more people on board and share the knowledge with those who are sharing it with us, and creating a coursework or a way an educational system that we can grow this, that it shouldn't be kept secret. It needs to be something shared. So.
Yeah, this is something easily applicable.
Yep. it's not difficult. It's not rocket science. If you can put seed in a planter,
Yeah.
you can make this happen.
Very true.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What goes on the seed or in the furrow is a big contributing factor,
Right.
but it's that intention from the beginning of how you're nurturing that system.
Right.
Stewardship.
Right.
Go figure.
Right. Yep. And the fun part about it is we're not there yet. We've got plenty of room to grow. It's not, we've reached thresholds, and we know that things are we can change things very quickly.
Yeah.
Within a growing season, we made massive leaps and bounds in the productivity in the soil and the animals. It's a really fun, fast moving,
And we're also able to track something from soil to plant to animal to product, and have that health be tracked through that whole process too. Within your own experience and journey, what are some of the things that have maybe been stumbling blocks to making or momentum eaters, for yourselves?
Yeah. So one of the big ones, I feel like we made a transition to organic, and we probably made the leap a little too quick.
Okay.
Not applying for the certification or not. I feel like we tried to raise a crop too soon, rather than going towards a perennial system first. Because the crop had been, or the land had been degraded to such a point, and we started out. It's all of our soils are less than 2% organic matter, all of them across the board, and we are gaining with the tillage practices, with the cover crops. Intensive tillage, so we are still gaining every year percentage points in organic matter. So there is a gain, but we probably should have went to a perennial system before we took the leap to go try to raise an organic crop that we were going to bet the farm on.
Yeah.
So the markets have changed, and
True, and there's a learning curve with trying to bring a product to market, and different industry altogether. What are some of the surprises that you guys have experienced along the way, that unexpected benefit or joy that doesn't happen in a conventional, traditional agricultural system? For me today, I saw probably 15 different species of butterflies. This is a healthy, thriving ecosystem today. We checked off the list and saw all the members of the soil food web today. It was a good thing. We have all of these other indicators on a macro level of what's going on in the microbes in the soil and the fungi. We even found lots of fruiting bodies and other things that we were able to identify.
Yeah, and some of the exciting things that I've seen, we had neighbors, when they see buckwheat and clover, they're excited about bringing bees in. So, we got a beekeeper that brought bees in. The shale grains and some of these like the millets and things like this have brought dove in. So then we've got hunters that are coming in, and it's brought in a little different labor force that we wouldn't have expected. There's been many different trade-offs and relationships that have grown from just the critters that have come back. Several different animals. You brought up that our cover crops should also we should be able to eat some of the cover crops. So we're planting kale and radishes and turnips and some of these fall planting.
I think tillage radish tastes amazing. It's so good.
yeah, turnips and roast, and no doubt. So those are soil runoff. We've got much less. We've got water infiltration.
We just had, for all intents and purposes, a day and a half of pretty consistent rain. We didn't find any runoff.
No, none. Yeah, really exciting. So. The neighbors keep poking at us. Are you tired of losing money yet? And we're like, well, we'll see.
Not really losing it.
Not yet, no. So we're gaining on things. So really exciting. And I don't know if there's anything that you had to share with the ability to bring horses back to the farm. And had plenty of forage. So, we've got excess forage now that we've got these cover crops where we can stockpile and, bring some of these pleasure animals and that back to the farm. So,
Most exciting part for me is to bring a healthy product to friends and family, and something you're proud of, and something that you don't have to worry about what's going into my child. Like, that gives me a lot of peace, and is happy to share and invite other farms to be able to do the same. So it's been a struggle to, get production as large as others, and we can help facilitate that, then that's a blessing. So
yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. As a parent, when I hand my kid a snack, see what I mean? I also know, like, some of these data points are like, yeah, but we're gonna sneak that in there. It's gonna, now you're healthy. Yeah. As you look towards the future, right? We look forward. What are some future milestones that you're looking to have, in the rearview mirror eventually, like as you grow? Like today we talked about ground compaction and being able to work on that to allow for better respiration, so those are also things that we'll see change with time and practices. But what are some other things that you look forward to?
One of the big things I'm looking forward to is, not having to pull a ripper through the ground. Right. And it's kind of a given in our heavy clay soils, compacted. Doesn't take long for them to recompact if you're not sending a good amount of deep-rooted plants back into the soil. We did make the mistake in the first year in the organic that we raised soybeans, and they were shallow, not, they didn't have the same rooting structure as a ryegrass or a cereal rye or a tillage radish or daikon radish type deal. So our hope there is in the future that we can shift from having to raise the sorghum Sudan on our own ground, that maybe we could utilize some of the neighbors' ground that might have excess nitrogen, that might have, the need for the tillage, and we could stop, the tillage and plant a diverse warm season mix. Big blue stem, some of those, tall grass prairie type species, and not have to graze the annuals. So that's a goal. And of course increasing organic matter and probably utilizing some more of your system, a more involved parts of your system that you educate on. So it's definitely what you shared with us was a massive amount of information in a short amount of time while you've been here visiting, and definitely opened my eyes to the future and what
So a lot of resources.
Yeah, a lot of resources. Underutilized resources.
What's that over there? We can use it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful, right? Anytime we can utilize things that we weren't, that's a new tool in our toolbox, and only makes the work that we're doing easier, or more efficient. So sometimes it's still as hard, but man, we're getting twice the benefits, from it because we're doing it. Yeah.
Utilizing things that we're already doing. Put a little more mulch in the chicken, put a little bit more bedding in with the pigs, and now let's take and combine and bring those into a common source to be able to put back out, So massive amounts of ideas and, a flood of information. So,
and there are differences between liquids and solid applications and the equipment necessary. And so, being able to see the other equipment that you have here on site then allows us to go, we can fine tune some of these for your application processes.
And hopefully we could become a hub for others to be able to, we could share those resources and those pieces of equipment that everybody wouldn't have to buy, but if there was you've talked about these networks of farms that come together and share equipment or build equipment together. And, not everybody, you can utilize it over the course of weeks and months. You don't have to have it at planting day.
Right. Different equipment where it can add. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not something that's dependent that moment.
Right. So we're not just regenerating a farm, we're regenerating and cooperating with many farms. So
I have a couple more questions. One question so you can think about is, what do you wish I would have asked you? Right? Kind of share on that a little different perspective, but what do you wish people would know about what you've done so that they can also participate? Like, it's not just, hey, eat a meat stick, right? It's not just that. But if you are, you should probably be the best options out there. But what do you wish they would know, and maybe make it easier on their own journey, and for yourself,
Yeah, I would say from a producer's perspective to other producers and to consumers, that there's a lot of farmers that may not be speaking up about how tight the system is being run, being financially, timing, weather, labor. All these things are adding up to an immense amount of pressure on the different producers in different ways.
Oh, right.
And at any scale, from small ones all the way to massive farms are feeling pressure from all these different factors. And if we're going to pull out of this, we've all got a responsibility in this, and including the consumer, to understand and to support directly as much as possible. The infrastructure, the system, the Walmarts and the Hy-Vees and the large grocery chains of the world, they're necessary. But if there's any way that a consumer can support and relieve some of that pressure, financially, labor, you're not everybody's going to have you out to come run a $500,000 tractor, but if it comes to weed eating a fence row, or there's always a small job that, hey, offer a hand.
Grateful for the help.
Yeah. So,
and that is also part of the transparency component. This is not hidden behind a wall. This is come hang out with the cows, and learn about these practices and the principles applied.
Yeah. So, many different ways that people can step up, and how you're called to help in the movement. It's going to vary from person to person, family to family. So. We got to vote with our food dollars and the energy that we're expending. So,
and with technology, the direct to market sales that allows someone to just receive something in the mail, I'm grateful for it. I've received boxes in the mail. It's wonderful, right?
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, it's like my dollar couldn't go to the grocery store and buy the quality of meat. Like, there's not enough money because it wasn't there. I needed to be able to find a source for that nutrition.
Yeah. You're supporting the fulfillment center, the inoculator.
Yeah, that's true.
And everybody in between.
That's right.
So a lot of these family farms are leaning on their other half or other parts of the family to fulfill orders and tracking down dry ice and all these different things. So that's.
We did a UPS run yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah.
So good.
So yeah. But no, one of the big things when it comes to that and direct to consumer, what a lot of people are going to find, on certain websites, or if they'll ask, and we had this on a health and wellness type podcast not long ago. So one of the big things that I wish consumers would know about farmers is that they may have a price and a set point, but if you can't afford a product, and people say, well, the grass-fed's too expensive, organic, I can't afford it. If you reach out to a producer, to a grower, and especially this where get to know your rancher. So one of the big things that I like to rebut about people that say they can't afford organic and that sort of deal is you can't afford not to eat well.
Yeah.
What's
on it.
Yeah. What's it cost to not? What's your health worth? And your well-being. What's your kid's health worth? So to steal something from Blake Alexander, the Alexander Dairy out in California, Blake will explain that consumers have got the right to pay more to get more. So
that's true. Actually, they shouldn't pay anything for some of the nonsense that they're buying in the stores already. So
So.
And with that transparency, you're able to actually verify that you are getting more, not just a marketing campaign or a pretty picture, but the openness to share and to teach and to be part of that, not just sell a product, but open up this process for everybody's regeneration.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, question. What do you wish I would have asked? Or what do you wish people, should know? Type of thing.
Yeah. I'll circle back to the, I think that consumers and producers alike, everybody should, step up and work towards, the support of the initiative, the regenerative movement. We shouldn't be trying to slander each other and slander one another in different farms. That we're all in this together. It's too big of a monster to try to wrestle down to the ground and for us to be fighting over parts and pieces of it. So, I think that that's a big piece that we really as a group we need to focus on is trying to get the attention of the consumer and let them know that we're all in this together. That we're going to need their help too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we need to help change it from, producers been doing it for quantity, not quality. We need to switch that, and
yeah, very true.
We're hoping that this, initiative towards, getting rewarded for a higher quality will help to take that change to start creating a better quality products and, back to food as medicine. So.
Yeah. And just to kind of lay out a progression, we nurture that microbiome. It's fortified with foundational fungi. We've got cover crops. There's always a living root in the system. Mm-hmm. We've got amazing forage that's being nurtured through that soil profile, which is feeding and nurturing those cattle, which are then feeding and nurturing us. And we have data points and national nutritional density studies that says this is actually exceptional. Like, it has stuff that isn't normal because those practices are reinforcing it with the rest of the ecosystem. And then the benefits from that is if somebody is suffering from, the autism study, mm-hmm. right? Or cancer, or this is the health that we're restoring into that system, mm-hmm. and it shifts that gear from survival to thriving. Right. And we want that thriving to be not just for our animals and our land, but for the livelihood of those who dwell there, mm-hmm. and the communities that it supports.
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah. One thing that you didn't touch on, and few people do. Few people are going to speak about themselves, but I gotta, hats off to you for coming out and taking the time and spending so much time with the kids. It was a huge focus that
they're great.
Yeah. Nobody gets to see the behind the scenes, what you've done for the last several days. That it was a huge blessing to be able to have you to come out, and hope that others take you up on the ability, the opportunity to have you out and teach classes and bring other people together, and bringing in hired men and their other teammates to to share in that blessing. So.
Yeah, it was great to meet some of the people you work with too. This wasn't just you and the kids, and even the extended family, the generations today hanging out with Grandma. Even. So.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your hospitality. It has been wonderful to spend the physical time with you over the last several days, but also to share this, which we're going to share to the world, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And the reality and the blessings of what Proven Proteins is producing, and what you and the rest of your team at Ripley Cove Farms are growing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.